fuck did you think was gonna happen?
While she's spewing this fucking garbage out of that sewer hole in her face.
Like $150 million fucking dollars to Pakistan?
Hey guys, you guys happen to catch the news last night? No? That's okay. You know why? Because Tucker Carlson's going to tell us what we missed.
No presidential administration has ever changed so many basic institutions and facts of American life and done it so quickly. The other day, for example, we learned that the Biden administration plans to make the tiny District of Columbia our 51st state. But that's not even the biggest news.
Come on, Tucker, don't let me down. Tell me, what's the big news? We want to know. No, seriously, we want to know.
Just a few hours ago, Biden officials informed us that after almost 65 years of working to build a nuclear weapon, the nation of Iran may be finally, and you'll find this amazing, quote, just weeks away from getting a bomb.
Let me get this straight. For decades, the United States has been trying to keep nuclear arms out of the hands of the Iranian government. Now, a week and a half into the Joe Biden administration, and Iran is weeks away from having a nuclear weapon? Something's going on here. There's something bigger than what we're being told going on here. Holy shit. I know how this is going to fucking end. But you know what? I'm going to let Tucker tell you how it's all going to go down.
You already know how that story's going to end. Another pointless foreign war. Trillions spent, many dead, the United States gaining nothing. We've seen that a lot.
Well, duh! Look at the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. 2 campaigns I served in, and neither one did any fucking good for America. The only thing it did was cost us American lives and currency. Because everything we fucking destroyed over there, we had to rebuild plus give them more. Yeah, this isn't going to be good.
That's happening again. Joe Biden just sent American troops to Syria. Well, you didn't know that?
You cannot be serious. Really? Really?
Yep. Hours after he became president, American soldiers crossed into the nation of Syria. Sending them to Syria was one of the first things Joe Biden did.
Tell me, Tucker, because we want to know. Is there anywhere else that U.S. troops are deploying? Tell us. Please tell us.
Syria's not the only place they're massing. Washington, D.C. looks like occupied Sarajevo tonight, a small city overflowing with soldiers. The troops came last month, tens of thousands of them. We were told they're going to protect the capital from the inevitable right-wing violence certain to accompany Joe Biden's inauguration. Then Joe Biden was inaugurated, and there wasn't any violence. Donald Trump didn't chain himself to the North Portico. Trump voters didn't rush the stage. The Trump restoration never happened.
So, tell me, Tucker, if the Trump restoration never took place, why are our troops still in Washington, D.C.? I want to know.
National Guard leadership wouldn't tell us. Quote, for operational security reasons, the spokesman said, we will not get into specific details of the ongoing mission. Oh.
An ongoing mission. The National Guard wouldn't divulge anything on an ongoing mission. Last I checked, the National Guard was deployed to Washington, D.C. as security measures for the inauguration. Once again, why are we still down in the fucking Capitol when the inauguration was over a week and a half ago? Could it be that there is something bigger going on here? As Scooby-Doo would say, ruh-roh!
Oh, soldiers in our capital, but we don't have a right to know. Got it. J.B. Pritzker, who's the governor of Illinois, was not so shy about the purpose. He laid it out very clearly.
Oh, it's another fucking Democrat. But please, Pritzker, tell me. Tell me again why the troops are still in Washington, D.C. We want to know.
In a press release announcing the deployment of more soldiers to Washington, D.C., Pritzker explained that, quote, "We must root out the dark forces of racism, white supremacy, and disinformation that have created this moment." Let that sink in. The military has been deployed to Washington, D.C. to fight disinformation. So say something a Democratic governor doesn't like, and he will send troops. Does that sound like the country that you grew up in? It probably doesn't. This is not the way things are done in America. It's not the way they have been done since the Civil War. No one alive has ever seen anything like this. So why is everyone pretending it's totally normal to have thousands of troops in the Capitol to fight disinformation? They think it's fine to mobilize the army in order to put down domestic opinions. MSNBC, though, let us remind you, an opinion channel, is completely in favor of this. Watch.
And now nearly 5,000 National Guard troops will be deployed in D.C. through March, as some congressional staffers and extremism researchers say there are concerns about possible violence surrounding the upcoming impeachment proceedings.
The National Guard will have to stay there as a symbol to those people who think that that building is vulnerable. And that includes the American citizens who went up there and performed insurrection.
Oh, here we go. This fucking douchebag wants to use the word insurrection to describe what happened at the Capitol. So let's look at the fucking definition of the word insurrection. Insurrection, according to Merriam-Webster, is a noun, and it means an act or instance of revolting against a civil authority or an established government. Well, fucktard, that sounds a lot like what BLM and Antifa was doing. So, if you're going to use the word insurrection to describe what happened on January 6th, you better use that same fucking term to describe what Black Lives Matter and Antifa did city to city for months. You fucking douchebag.
Inside the Pentagon's decision to keep thousands of National Guard troops in the streets of Washington, D.C., as we get a new gut punch from the FBI, affirming the greatest threat facing the American people is already among us.
Jesus fucking Christ. Did you guys catch what this Harvard-educated cum dumpster just fucking said? The biggest threat to the American people is already among us. And on the screen, there's pictures of Trump supporters while she's spewing this fucking garbage out of that sewer hole in her face. Wow! Holy fucking shit, wow!
Oh, extremism researchers. So the Southern Poverty Law Center is now in charge of the Pentagon. You should know that. The whole thing's a gut punch, by the way, they just told you. Gut punch? Not that the people in charge have ordered up an unspecified number of soldiers for an unspecified period of time for purposes they refuse to explain to us. No, that's not a gut punch. It's not a big deal. It's business as usual here in Kyrgyzstan. The gut punch is, and the fact is, and definitely is a fact, it's not at all terrifying Rwanda-level propaganda. The fact is that, quote, the greatest threat facing the American people is already among us. Already among us. They're here. Terrified yet? The woman you just saw on television went to Harvard, incidentally, so you can believe it when she tells you what the real threat is. It's not like she was reading from a Ministry of Truth press release issued by some creepy authoritarian regime. No, not at all.
Thank you, Tucker Carlson. You just called the left and the Biden administration exactly what they are. An authoritative regime. Oh, and I'm going to be the first one to jump on this shit. Yeah, I'm going to be the first. If anything happens and it pops up in the news that Tucker Carlson has passed away, I'm going to be the first one to say it. It wasn't a suicide. Tucker Carlson did not kill himself.
She knows who the enemy is. And this week, the enemy was a freshman congresswoman from the 14th District of Florida. The threat that she alone poses, as they say in cable news, is existential.
Please, Tucker, For the love of God, who is this existential threat to America? Please tell me. Yep. I'm waiting. I want to hear it. Who is it? Who is this dangerous villain?
If you watch television this weekend, you already know quite a bit about her.
Trump's also been in touch with Florida Congresswoman and noted QAnon devotee Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wait. What? Did I hear that? Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is the existential threat to America? Who is she? Oh, I know who she is. She's the Republican who filed articles of impeachment against Joe Biden on January 21st, 2021. Wow. Could this oncoming mirage of video clips be retaliatory? Could the slander of her character be retaliatory? Because she doesn't see eye to eye and is opposition for the left? Please, inquiring minds want to know, how big of a threat is she?
People who are spreading conspiracy theories and doubling down on inciting violence. That, of course, is Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been in the news this whole weekend, is a conspiracy theorist.
Certainly news outlets have been exposing Representative Greene's history of hate.
Oh. So how dangerous, just how dangerous is this three-named congresswoman you probably have never heard of? Well, so dangerous that in the name of democracy, she must be expelled tonight from the Congress. That's what they're saying.
You know, I'm curious. What is this, or what does this authoritative regime want to do to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because they don't agree with her views? They want to expel her from her seat in Congress. A seat she was duly elected to sit in. Matter of fact, in Florida, 75% of the vote was for her. 25% for her opponents. In my book, that's a landslide. That's the people saying we want her there. She files articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden. Now they want to expel her. So now they just want to fucking toss out anybody and get rid of anybody that doesn't agree with them. There can be no opposition. You will do what we want. Isn't that what Hitler said? Or did? Through actions? He made that statement through actions. You will do as I say. Wow. But Trump supporters, yep, we're the fucking Nazis. Oh, America. What I think I see coming is the beginning of another Holocaust, a purge. I think the radical left is on a mission. And that mission is to eradicate 74 million Trump supporters. Again, call me a conspiracy theorist, but the evidence is in front of us. All you got to do is look at it, accept it, and realize it. A storm is here. And this is just the drizzle before the downpour.
In the new democracy, CNN gets the veto. If cable news doesn't like your views, you have to leave Congress. That's the rule. The test is entirely ideological. You don't actually have to harm anyone to lose your job. This new member of Congress has barely even voted. She just got there the other day. But CNN says she has bad opinions, therefore she's the greatest threat we face.
You know, I remember, let's say 1994 on. Like, that's when I really started paying attention to the world around me. So I started looking at the world. And back then, we were actually in a good place as a country. We really were. Yeah, there were still political disagreements and all this. Very, very few tragedies. But with that being said, the Constitution and what it stood for was enforced. The Bill of Rights and what is written on it remained the law of the land. And somehow, since the 90s, going into 2000, 2010, and now into the 20s, it is amazing to see how the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is no longer the law of the land. It's people like me who believe in it trying to defend it, while everybody else around us strips it away. Have we as Americans forgotten what that document stood for? It's kind of appalling to see our political system and our politicians destroying something that has been such the foundation of the nation. And once you start stripping that away, our nation's going to crumble. And it's already happening. Because ever since the 2020 election, we're seeing a authoritative approach to the Biden administration. You win an office in a fair election, you get dragged through the mud for the entire 4 years of your presidency, and then once you're gone, because of a rigged election, now they're going to start coming after anybody who supported your views. Can you say fucking Nazis? In my opinion, that is what the left is. They are coming into a modern day Nazi party. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. It's a Nazi party. They want us to do what they say, and if we oppose them, we're wrong. You're going to be persecuted and called an extremist, a Trump extremist, by the left-wing media. Well, from where I'm coming from, and from where I'm sitting, you're a disgrace to this country. But it's no use starting a war over it, unless we have to. And by you starting this persecution and this purge, that's how it's going to begin.
Now, if you're skeptical about any of this, our advice is keep it to yourself, because free inquiry is dead. Unauthorized questions are hate speech. Anyone who suggests that this one member of Congress is not really America's greatest enemy is, by definition, one of America's greatest enemies. And that would definitely include this show, which CNN spent yet another weekend trying to get pulled off the air by force. Censoring a news program is not censorship when the people at CNN don't agree with what that program says. Okay? They actually said that.